PSTA Planning Committee meeting, and I want to acknowledge that I am sitting in for Commissioner David Albritton, who is the chair of the Planning Committee. So I officially would love to call the meeting to order. Can we introduce ourselves to the Planning Committee? And we're gonna start to my left.
Yes, ma'am. Max McCann, Citizen Representative of St. Petersburg.
Thank you,
Barb Hazelden, Citizen Representative of the County Commission.
thank you.
And hello, I'm Brad Miller. I'm the CEO of PSTA.
Oh, Darden Rice, Chief Planning and Community Affairs Officer.
Thank you, if you don't mind.
Debbie Lees, Chief Financial Officer, PSTA.
Lucian Capel, Director of Project Management.
Well, thank you and welcome everybody for being here this morning. We're gonna go ahead and jump right into a public comment. Do we have anyone for? Okay, well, this is gonna be a good one. We're gonna move immediately into our action items, and the only item that we have is the approval of the August 20th, 2025 minutes, and I'll entertain a motion to approve if there are no changes or corrections.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. So now we're gonna move into our information items, and we're looking forward to this. We have our PSTA's Planning Manager, Jacob Labutka, who's here to go over the rollout of the new Spark route and all of the route changes that are part of the Connected Community Bus Network, starting this weekend. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning to you, and thank you all. We start that over. Hi, I'm Jacob Labutka, planning. I've clearly not had enough coffee, even though I've had 3 or 4 cups. I was also up very early this morning. Perfect segue into this presentation today. As Devin is help. Well, I'll get us started while we get the slide deck up. So I'm Jacob Labutka, Planning Manager here at PSTA. So we are, as you just mentioned, in the throes of getting ready for the launch of the Connected Community Bus Network that launches this coming Sunday, October 26th. We have had a very massive public outreach effort related to this, as Devin mentioned in the Finance Committee meeting. So I was up quite early this morning, 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m., writing the Route 7, making sure riders know about some of the upcoming changes to their routes. So we are out riding buses, we are out at terminals, we are everywhere where our riders are at to make sure that they are informed. And I think it looks like we are good with the presentation now. Perfect. So, as you have seen this variations of this slide many times over the past year. So just once again, as a refresh, as we get ready for our impending launch this coming Sunday, that a lot of the changes we have been working these last 2+ years to implement have these common themes of what we're gonna be changing countywide. So as we've talked about before, we have more weekend demand, so we're shifting some services from the peak during the weekday to the weekends. We're also being responsive to the fact that we are a tourism market, both for tourists and for service sector workers. We also want to capitalize on our premium core routes that operate very frequently, such as our new Spark service that we're all very excited about. We also excited about the fact that this plan increases access to jobs by about 25% on weekends and late night hours when our services do tend to dwindle down. As Devin also mentioned in the Finance Committee presentation, we're also excited that we can offer time transfers at select locations to decrease travel times for folks making connections between routes, particularly those that operate once an hour. And also that this is a operationally cost neutral plan. So one of the shining stars of our CCPN is the new Spark service shown here on the map, operating from Grand Central on the north end to Eckerd College on the south end. Like Sunrunner, this will be a limited stop service that will only stop at all of the locations shown on the map. And like Sunrunner, it'll operate kind of like a train in that it will automatically just stop at each of these locations, so there's no need to pull the stop cord. It will have the totems like the Sunrunner showing real-time information on when the next bus is departing, and there will be Flamingo and contactless payment readers on the front and back door, but those needing to pay cash or show a valid form of ID can board through the front door. And this will also have consistent service 7 days a week from 5 a.m. to midnight, operating every 30 minutes for most of the day. Every 15 minutes for most of the day and every 30 minutes outside of 6 to 8. So in talking about CCBN, and this is a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of some of the internal trainings we've been doing to educate our customer service staff, operators, and our admin staff doing outreach, I find it's easier to describe what's changing with CCBN. It's sometimes easier to say what is not changing with CCBN, or what is changing minimally. So shown on the screen is the list of our routes and our services that will have little to no change come October 26th. So these include services like our Sunrunner that is staying the same, with the exception of adding 2 early morning trips between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m. to help those early morning commuters get to or from work. We're also keeping our express routes to Tampa the same. These will be some of the few routes that do only operate on weekdays. Only change with those is that we're removing the X branding. Our trolley routes will be staying the same. Our local route 19. We have a limited express route in North County called the 66L. That's just getting a branding change to the 91. Our Clearwater Ferry service, which this is an old version of this slide because it's we know that now service to Dunedin is thankfully restored. So now you can take Clearwater Ferry between Dunedin and Clearwater. And our mobility services are staying the same, as well as our Grouper and our East Lake Shuttle. So I wanted to specifically point to our mobility services just as a refresher, a reminder on these programs, like our Direct Connect program that offers $5 off Uber, Lyft, or United Taxi, or $25 off wheelchair transport to or from the 26 locations shown here on the screen. Our late shift program, which is our after hours program for our transportation disadvantaged or TD riders who have incomes of 200% of the federal poverty level or less. They can, for an additional $9 copay, have up to 25 trips a month on Uber, Lyft, or taxi service, or for when most of our buses are not in service. And our ADA paratransit service, PSTA access, and our MOD programs are staying the same. And in addition to all of these services, a question I've gotten a lot while doing outreach is, are your fare policies staying the same? And yes, that is not going to change come October 26th. It's still going to be the same, $5 a day fare cap. Our TD policies will be staying the same, as well as our UPass partnerships, our veterans fare programs, and our other fare programs that we offer here at PSTA. So as I mentioned, we've done a whole lot as an organization across all departments to prep for the launch. I've already spoken to a lot of the outreach that we've done. Shown here are pictures from an event we had at the Foundation for Healthy St. Pete on the south side at 22nd Ave South and 34th Street South. Shout out to Councilwoman Vic Sanders, who came out and spoke at the event. It was a great event where we educated community leaders, nonprofit providers, and others in our countywide community about some of the upcoming changes, as well as resources that they could connect their clients and others to who rely on our services to ensure that they're prepared for all of the changes that are going to go into effect on October 26th. As I've mentioned, as apart from outreach, we've done a whole lot of internal trainings. Our facilities team has been hard at work touching our 4,000 plus bus stops with rider notices, so they are aware about any changes or bus stop removals. We've also done a lot with our transit app that I will actually show you a live demo at the end of the meeting to help prepare riders for the upcoming changes. We can actually show a preview of what the new network will look like. So across the organization, we have been up to a whole heck of a lot this month to get ready for Sunday. So another peek behind the curtain to show you just a little sample of the communications we've had with both our employees and our riders to educate them about the changes. I just wanted to show you 2 examples that really exemplify a lot of the changes we are making in the Connected Community Bus Network countywide. And this is in a small snippet of a much larger 140 slide presentation that fully details the changes happening with each and every route. So for the abridged version, shown here is one of our workhorse routes, the Route 4, that primarily travels up and down 4th Street, connecting the Pinellas Point community to PSTA. Shown on the map on the right is what the route is going to look like beginning this coming Sunday. So as you can see, the route alignment for a lot of the path is pretty similar. I would say it's exactly the same in between the Coquina Key neighborhood and here at PSTA. It is south of Coquina Key where there are the biggest and most significant routing changes. Now you will notice that there is a pink line and a green line. So this is one of 7 routes where we have formalized the concept of variance. So this service does on weekdays operate every 15 minutes, but each trip will be a different variant. It will alternate. So if I leave, say right now as the A variant, the next trip in 15 minutes will leave as the B variant, and so on and so forth. And if you're in between Coquina Key and PSTA and need to just travel in that area, it's not gonna matter which variant you need to take. It is only in the south portion where a rider really needs to pay attention to make sure they can get to their destination. So the A variant here shown in pink that's a service that once it gets past Coquina Key is gonna travel south and then provide bi-directional service on 62nd Avenue South. And that line shown in green, our B variant, that's gonna be providing service to Coquina Key and on 54th Avenue South. And I think this really does exemplify a great change we're doing countywide in that we're trying to introduce more corridor-based services where you can catch a bus in both directions. Whereas today on the Route 4, not evident on the map, but on the southernmost street, Pinellas Point Drive, the route only travels west, and on 62nd Avenue South, the route only travels east. And so we know just from the nature of travel, it's at least to me, it's easier if a service or a street is going or a route is going in both directions. So that's one way we're trying to simplify our network design.
Jacob,
Yes.
I know I've heard this demonstration a few times. On the right-hand side on our new route, looks like you've extended it to a destination point. What destination point is that on the
That is
right-hand side?
thank you, Debbie, for that, and that's a great transition to this next slide, where that is actually the second bullet point under introducing the A and B variant. Let's say you have powers of foresight. So we extended the route from Roy Hanna right here in Pinellas Point community to Bay Point Plaza. And so that's become a new connection point where several routes, including this one, as well as routes like the 11 and the 90 and the 20 will converge there rather than in Roy Hanna. And we think that's gonna be a benefit to both our riders because they'll be able to better connect to our adjacent Spark service. And there's also a lot of businesses there like the Publix and other stores and retail outlets. And it will also be good for our operators because if they have enough time during a layover, they can go into one of those adjacent businesses like the Publix for a restroom break during a layover. Another change we've made to the Route 4, and before I say the change, on all of these slides, you'll notice on the right-hand side, we show the existing service span and frequency by day. And then that is compared to the bar chart on the bottom, which is going on all departure boards and shelters and at terminals countywide that show the service span and frequency by day. And the color scheme on these is reflective of the color scheme on the system map from a few slides ago, where pink is our most frequent routes, operating every 15 minutes, blue every 30, green every 60. And so the big difference from existing versus CCBN once this goes live on Sunday is that on Sunday, right now this route only operates every 60 minutes, but now it will actually operate every 30 minutes. And that's gonna be a very significant improvement for riders traveling up and down 4th Street. And I think is a great example of ways in which we are improving our services on the weekends. I also wanted to provide an example of another type of change. So we have some routes that we are removing from service, but they are being replaced by other services. And so this is an example of how we're communicating that. So this is our Route 67. This is a route that operates in the northern part of the county in between downtown Clearwater at our Park Street terminal and Oldsmar in a kind of a circular loop around that community, as shown on the map on the left. The map on the right shows the services that will be replacing the Route 67 service. And so the service you would take really just depends on where you are at. So for example, that route in green, that's our Route 70. That is a new route that's gonna provide bi-directional service along the Drew Street corridor. If you need to travel to Oldsmar, the routing, that route would be a variant of the Route 78, the 78B, that is gonna closely mirror what the 67 does in between Countryside Mall and Oldsmar. And there's also a small section of the Route 62 on Belcher that will still provide service in that area where the 67 operates today. And you'll also notice the zone in purple. So that is our new Snapper Clearwater zone that is replacing part of the Route 67 along Hercules Avenue. And so that service will allow riders to travel between anywhere in this zone to either Park Street Terminal or Countryside Mall, so they can either connect to those destinations or other transit services that connect in those areas. And then shown here is just a further description, as well as the existing service span and frequency. So folks who are looking at this and studying it internally can compare the service span and frequency of this route to some of those other services that we are launching. So just wanted to give you just a sneak peek behind the curtain, and this is just a small snippet of a much larger presentation that shows just the level of detail that we're making sure that our employees and our riders are provided with so they can be prepared for this coming Sunday. And so lastly, so this is a QR code here to our transit app if you are interested and don't already have it downloaded. And then we, of course, as always, have resources posted at psta.net/connectedcommunity, including all of our new route schedules. And myself and others on the team have been personally responding to rider and community questions at ccbn@psta.net. And so now, before I open up for questions, I am actually gonna do a live screen share from my phone so you can see some of the new features that we've added into Transit app for the benefit of our riders. Raphael, can you switch the screens for me again like you did the other day?
Just gonna try.
Perfect, thank you. All right. So I'm going to our transit app, and so let me disable this. So it knows where I'm at. So like it normally does, it shows me some of the routes that are adjacent to my current location, as well as the time that it will be departing. But you'll notice the banner on the top that says big changes coming to PSTA services starting on Sunday, October 26th. So if I want to see what the new network looks like and activate the network preview, I just tap that banner and then it's automatically going to change to what the new network is going to look like. And you'll also notice the different colors. So we've made it to where the colors of these services is the same as the color scheme that is on our system map. So there's a couple of ways I could take a look at the new services that are coming down the pipeline. I can scroll and see what's closest to me, such as like the Route 11, and then I can see some of the upcoming departure times and some of the the stops along the route. We're also close to our Route 59, and this is a great example of the way that the variants show in the app. So if I move to the western part of the Route 59 where the variant patterns matter, you can see here I'm selected on the B variant, which is replacing part of what the Route 61 is doing today, serving the Rainbow Village community as well as some of the adjacent streets. But say if I don't need to go there and I just want a straight shot on Almerton as it transitions into Walsingham, I can press on the A variant and it'll show me the pattern that is needed to access maybe some of those stops that you cannot do on the B variant. But say I, maybe don't know my surroundings as well, I could maybe do a trip plan instead. So one I did in track yesterday, I'll do an example of, is starting from approximately Park Street Terminal. So I'm pressing this little 67-minute arrow guy here to open up the trip planner. And then I'm pressing the double arrows, so that is my origin. And I'll use an example that was talked about in the Finance Committee meeting that I believe Devin did a sort of screenshot of, but I'll show it to you live, is going to the Hart Northwest Transfer Center. So I'm gonna tap on this first trip option, that's the Route 78. And so it shows me the upcoming times on the A variant I would need in order to access that service. And you'll note that even though there is both an A and a B pattern on the 78, it's only showing me the upcoming departure time options for that A variant, since that's gonna be the only one that will get me to the Hart Northwest Transfer Center. The last thing I want to show you before I open it up for questions, and this one is in beta, so it's not live in network preview yet. But something else we've done is with our existing grouper and our upcoming Snapper services, we have worked with our friends at Transit app to integrate those services so they show up within our Transit trip planning platform. So it usually takes a second to load, but any second now, here we go. You'll notice that the grouper shows up as an available service. So if I tap on the grouper and I zoom out, I can see that the entirety of St. Pete Quarter International Airport is highlighted, although I hope one is not hailing a ride from the end of the tarmac because that would be dangerous. But that entire area is geofenced. If you are in the airport area, you can get a ride to, if I zoom out, to anywhere in Clearwater Beach that is highlighted here. And the Snapper service, our new on-demand services in Clearwater and in Safety Harbor, work much the same way. So if I go zoom over here, I'm just gonna find Hercules, here we go. And so now I have switched fish, and now it is the PSTA Snapper service. So if I tap on Snapper and I zoom out, I can see that same zone boundary that you saw a few slides ago, where I can travel between anywhere within this zone to anywhere at Countryside Mall over here. And then it's a little more specific to see, but our Park Street Terminal and those adjacent streets are highlighted here. And then say I've, ready to book a trip, what you would do is you would press this open PSTA Snapper button on the bottom, and it's going to automatically take you to the Grouper app where you can book both the Grouper and the Snapper rides. And so this is what's called a deep link, that it will take you to the app that you need to do in order to book. And so with that, I will stop here and I will open it up for any questions or comments that y'all may have.
Well, thank you. Quite interactive presentation. I do appreciate that. Does any committee members have any questions or comments?
I do.
Commissioner McCann.
Just on that last part about the Snapper, are we worried about somebody tries to open Snapper and it takes them to an app that's called Grouper? And they're thinking, I'm trying to get the Snapper, why do I need the Grouper app? Is there anything we can do to help that, or are we kind of stuck with it?
I believe, at least for now, just with the limitations with our vendor, I believe that is the way it is for now. Is that correct, Amanda?
Yes, and part of that was a cost saving measure. Creating a whole new instance of the app would be expensive, but building a new route within our existing app environment was free, which is my favorite cost for anything.
Yeah.
So
Mine too, man.
I have another.
Go ahead, Max.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
I've heard that we're extending the 100X over to Tampa Airport, and if I understand right, we're waiting until the express lanes are open on the Howard Franklin Bridge. Does it not make sense to go ahead and get that change going with the new map, or is it best to wait until those lanes are open? And is that even still the plan?
Let's say, at least in my personal opinion, based on conversations that we've had, so I think we want to wait until the express lanes will open, since I know the travel times will greatly defer based on having the express lanes versus being stuck in the general purpose lanes. We also want to make sure we have ample time to coordinate with our friends over at Hart, since that Gandy Boulevard section there is the only transit service that's available in Hillsborough County right now. And I've already given them a heads up that at some point we would be shifting service over to the airport. And then we also want to make sure we loop in our funding partners at FDOT, since we do receive some funding from them for that service specifically.
What's the latest that we hear about the timeline for those lanes being open?
That's a great question.
I was hearing
Brian Hunter said at the chamber meeting last week, first quarter
Spring, yeah, next year.
next year.
Okay, got it.
On the bridge. And then
Just on the bridge.
and then there's the extension they just started clearing for that goes down to 38th Avenue, and that'll take a little bit longer, but on the bridge, it should be first quarter 26.
And are we only waiting for the lanes on the bridge to do the 100X? Okay,
That's my hope.
Great.
It's change would happen hopefully next spring.
I'm excited about that. I think that'll be, I'm optimistic that that'll be a well-used route. Thank you.
Good, okay. Commissioner?
So the Snapper, what is the, can you explain where that came from? Snapper?
No, absolutely. So the Snapper service, so we were just talking a lot internally about how we wanted to brand and design the on-demand services in Clearwater and Safety Harbor that have always been a part of the Connected Community Bus Network plan. At least in those areas, we've always had some level of ridership, but maybe not quite enough to continue with a fixed route bus, but enough to have some sort of demand response service. And so we decided to go with the Snapper branding, since it's it's using this very same technology as the grouper. Our marketing team decided to just continue with the fish theme, since it's gonna live within that same environment, and call it the Snapper services. And so just a little bit more about those services. They're gonna operate just 6 days a week. It's just gonna be from Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., which closely mirrors the fixed route services that they're replacing. And as I mentioned on the slide deck, folks can only travel between anywhere in that zone in Clearwater to either Countryside Mall or Park Street.
Yeah, that's right.
And then in the Safety Harbor zone, they can only travel between anywhere in Safety Harbor zone to Countryside Mall.
Okay,
And that Snapper service zone is gonna be taking over what is currently that 814
Yeah.
Right.
demand. So
Yeah.
we're trying to make it more efficient, more appealing to a wider spectrum of audiences and riders.
because that was the highest cost.
Yes,
Per ride.
yes, so we're
And-
trying
and-
to improve that efficiency.
Okay, so, and that was due to what, low ridership or?
Yes.
Very, very little ridership on that service. I think it might have been just too complicated for the riders or to understand.
Uh-huh.
It's very low ridership. So this, since the grouper service has been better, more
Yeah,
efficient,
Yeah,
a third of the same cost as that Safety Harbor service, we
Right.
thought try to model something similar to how the grouper work was. I think will be easier for folks to understand. It may be more intuitive. You just go, you get to Countryside Mall and you can go anywhere in Safety Harbor. That's kind of the way the grouper has worked successfully, so we're hopeful. It's not gonna get the price down to regular bus service levels, but it'll get it down to hopefully increase ridership.
is
Decrease the
Devin here?
Yes,
Yeah, well, I just, I think it'd be good to change the name of that, on your
Yeah.
cost comparison, put Snapper on there, would, if you would,
Yes, ma'am, I can do that.
yeah, to try
That's
to
good.
keep us straight.
Oh, yeah, we should
Oh,
put it
yes.
on there for maybe even for the board meeting.
Yeah, I'll make
Yeah.
that change.
That's good.
Good, thank you.
Yes.
Great, thank you for that suggestion.
Alright, any other questions?
On the Snapper, I'd love to hear what else we're doing for marketing besides inside the transit app. I
Mhm.
suspect we're doing other things, because we have an awesome marketing department.
Good.
Sorry,
No
sorry to
worries,
make
no
you
worries.
get up.
Amanda Barrett, Director of Communications and Marketing. I have been working very closely with our mobility team and with our planning team on the Snapper, not just from a branding, but service delivery and advertising perspective. So very similar to the grouper. One of the innovative advertising tactics we've used for the grouper are actually targeted ads on Google. So folks who are in those geofenced zones or are researching travel to those geofenced zones, are researching flights in and out of PIE anywhere in the country, are getting targeted ads about the grouper as a cost-effective way to get from PIE to Clearwater Beach. We're gonna try and mirror the success of those targeted ads with some targeted search ads about Snapper. Less of a tourist audience for those, more of a locals audience, but still geofenced to those zones and very close to those zones. So if you're trying to figure out how you're gonna get somewhere from Safety Harbor or get to Safety Harbor, you'll get a little search ad for the Snapper. Additionally, we have posted rider notices at all of the existing fixed route stops in the Clearwater zone.
Yep.
Jacob personally went out and posted those notices, as well as the existing 814 stops that say, starting this date, just scan here to get a ride from anywhere in Safety Harbor. All of the stops on the existing 814 are in the zone, so if someone's going there out of habit, they'll see that
those.
sign. So we're trying to meet people where they are, both digitally and physically on
Great.
the advertising side.
Excellent, thank you.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, use that.
Also to change 814 to Snapper on the comparison, the route by route sheet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll keep, for comparison's sake, we'll keep 814 and we'll add Snapper probably, just so we can see the difference, because they operate so differently.
Okay,
That's right.
So we can see what's actually working best
Okay.
for us.
Okay,
Thank you.
Seeing no further requests to speak, I'll go ahead and chime in. I will start by saying, if PSTA, if there's such a thing that has an absolutely amazing employee award, I think that should go to Mr. Jacob LaBuca. He has done a fantastic job with the whole process of it. You know, I was at the foundation, I passed by him and see him at the bus station, so he really enjoys, you have a passion for it and it shows, and you know, that's what makes an organization great, or it's family, it's team, and I just see that every time you do a presentation. I really do appreciate what you put into it, because you definitely exude that, we get so much out of it, so I just wanna congratulate you on that, you really do deserve an amazing employee award. I also wanna thank you all for the extension in 62nd Avenue South, that is in my district, it is so needed, and I didn't understand it, but you helped me see that as well, and I am also very appreciative. I have a monthly meeting with the Skyway Marina District, and from me to you, thank you for extending that into the Bay Vista, Bay Point shopping center. They really do appreciate the fact that we're trying to become so multimodal. Now, I'm not gonna be on Sunday when it kicks off. I would love to be there on Sunday. Sunday's already full, but I'll definitely be there Monday morning. But the students at Eckerd are so excited about Spark. So with everything that we have going on, I'm still as confused about the routes as everybody else. Trying to figure out how we can simplify understanding that. So thank you for the live presentation on your cell phone. But you know me, I'm still the common man's council member. Everybody wouldn't be able to navigate it the way you did. So, you know, I'm looking forward to a conversation about that. But again, thank you for the presentation. Thank you for all the work, Darden, you and your team have put in to try to give us the most efficient and effective way for our constituents to get through the city, Pinellas County. Is there anything you wanna add, Brad?
No, Jacob gave you a little bit more in-depth tutorial to the Riders Committee yesterday afternoon, and they loved it. That you know, they live all over the county, so some live in northern Pinellas County, some live in St. Petersburg, some Clearwater, so they were asking him lots of questions. He would show them all off to their personal ride and how it would get better or change, and I think they were kind of blown away by it. Yeah. Practicing with their own transit app on their phone while we were having the meeting, so that was good.
It was.
I will say PSTA has really have been very innovative, and it shows, so I appreciate that. Seeing no other requests to speak, and Brad has already spoken, we're gonna go, thank you, Jacob.
Great, thank you so
Jacob.
much for the kind
We're gonna go ahead and move on and keep the agenda moving. So we are now at other business. Does any committee members have any other business that they would like to present?
No.
I have one. And I don't know if this is something that PSTA will consider, and Brad, I don't know if anybody has reached out to you yet. Have you heard of the IKE Smart Cities? It is such a cool, okay, so I'm gonna send the link to you to send to other commissioners. It's like you go to stations throughout the city, and it's like a big kiosk, costs nothing to you to set it up, and your customers touch the screen as to where they're trying to go, and it automatically takes you there, and it is so innovative and it's so cool. I'm gonna send you the link. I was introduced to it this week, and the first thing came to my mind is how we can utilize it to get people where they wanna go if they don't have a phone. Cause a lot of people that sometimes take transit, they don't have the phone, they don't have the app, and then you just go and you touch the screen and it just takes you around. So I'll send you the link just for consideration, but I just wanted to voice it, that I was presented it. Doesn't cost us anything, they make their money from advertising, just for us to look at it and see if that would be of interest to us. So I'll send you the link, okay? And you can send it to the commissioners as well. Anyone else have anything that you wanna add for the good of the committee meeting today? Alright, seeing none, our next meeting is November 19th at 10:30 a.m. and our meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
getting the screen sharing.
Let me send this to you now.